Shout out to the Penguins. We like seeing that in our YSU community room here. I'm one of the NEA INPLACE support group team members, and along with Killian Rayano from Design Agency in Brooklyn, Terry Schwartz, Cleveland Urban Design Collaborative, affiliated with Kent State University in downtown Cleveland, and colleague at YSU, R.J. Thompson, assistant professor of art at the College of Creative Arts and Communication. Welcome. Thank you for coming. I always like to start out with dual introductions. So now that I introduced our project support group team, I'm going to turn it over to the audience, and we're actually going to do today's meeting is actually mandatory. So a lot of people that have expressed why they could not come, they've given us kind of a pre-approved excuse. Some people will be coming late, but we're going to check you in real quick. So if we can start with Angelo and go around the room and tell us what team you're on and where you're from.
My name is Angelo Lamarca. I'm an art instructor at Valley Christian Schools. These are my students here that they're also going to introduce themselves very professionally to you. So this is the team that I'm on. We have a 7th and 8th grade class, and we're working on some lighting concepts on and around Emily Street.
I'm Eli Lewis.
Oh, I'm Pendleton Evans, and I am in 7th grade.
I'm Katie Murray, I'm in 7th grade.
A lot of good information.
Just keep it on this side of the room.
Tom Copeland with the Victorian Players.
Erin Sims, Calvin Center for the Arts.
Tony Armini, local sculptor.
Paul Hagen, local architect.
Bob Burke, Youngstown Parks Department.
Stephanie Michael, Akron Children's Hospital, and our team doesn't have a name, but we're green infrastructure.
First meeting, Lee Green, Youngstown Office of Minority Health, Youngstown City Health District.
I'm Gabriella Gessler, I'm with YSU Student Government Association.
Tyler Gordon, YSU Student Government Association as well. Team No Name.
Josh Boyle, team No Name.
Laura Tubo with First Energy. Courtney Boyle with Dunstan Consultants, stormwater engineer.
I'm Katie Collins, Team No Name, singer-songwriter.
Lisa Nieder, architect, MS Consultants, Team No Name.
Andy Boyle, I'm team No Name as well. I'm becoming accountant.
Sarah Della Padre, I'm a local designer. I'm Team No Name.
Richard Palmer, local sound man, and otherwise theatrical person. And basically, I have an interest in bike pasture, and that's really not named yet. It's still up in the air.
Molly Hartup, YSU University Events, and we don't have a name for our team either.
I'm with Molly, Emily Ebert, also at YSU.
Paul Carr, student at YSU, and I work for Ralph at Aquaponte.
And I'm with the Chauvin team. My name is Ralph Zerbonian.
Cool. Okay. And then real quick, we do have a special guest from City Hall today. The Director for Parks and Recreation, Bob Burke, is actually not on the clock right now. He's on vacation, but he still came to our meeting. The city is one of our primary partners on this grant award, and they will be largely responsible for working with the project support group team to come in with a maintenance plan, as Bark is well aware of with all the city parks and great things they're doing and reinvesting in some of our active parks in the city. So real quick, Bob's going to give a quick overview of his role and how he sees or values the project.
Thank you for having me tonight. Yeah, I'm going to be in Puerto Rico in a few hours, so I just wanted to stop here and say I really am excited about this project. I just heard about it late Friday, and I shared some pictures with Dominic of public art. I'm one of those people that believes in art, and the parks is a really big thing, like a big giant art wall. I envision a big art wall in the parks, city parks, and artists being creative and making designs out of the art wall, whether it's seasonal art or something of that nature along the sidewalks and things like that. So if Dominic gets a chance to share some of the pictures I sent to him, I hope that you guys can involve the parks as part of your art projects, because I really think that the parks could be a really positive impact for the art society and everything. Okay, thank you.
All right, Bob.
Thanks.
Thank you. Enjoy vacation.
All right.
Have fun.
Okay. Now that we got introductions out of the way, we do want to get a rough idea based on attendance and who was able to mark off here. I think we had some people late, but I'll get you on the sign-in sheet if you signed in. We do want to know who does have a team. I heard a lot of team no name, and I think that means for most of you, or maybe all of you, that you just don't know what your team name is. Some of you might not be on the same team if you said team no name. So I guess by a show of hands, is that good? I think if you have a team, please raise your hand. Okay, so everybody except Tony.
Two folks here.
Okay, good. There's only about 3 or 4 of you that don't have a team, but I'm aware of those people already. Who does not plan on being a team is maybe here in a different role and seeing how they can get involved in this specific project?
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's good to know too.
Jada didn't get to introduce herself.
Okay. Wait, hold on 1 second. We're gonna have you introduce yourself.
There's no name, there are other no name.
So it sounds like
name 1, no name 2.
2 team
And then
no
1
names.
and then 2.
Okay, I picked that up. I think from some of you are sitting on both different sides. A lot of Boyles I heard, so I wonder if they're on the same team. All right, we had a late arrival, but I want you to introduce yourself real quick. Yeah, your name, grade, and whose team you're on.
My name is Zeta Cosby. I'm 13 and I'm on the Blues Center team.
Awesome. Okay, thanks for coming, dude.
Welcome.
All right.
We have another person.
Oh, that's right. You know Madeline.
Hi, my name is Madeline. I'm a YSU student and I'm on a team with Derek McDowell. He will be coming shortly. And we're working on a lighting project.
Very good. Thank you, Madeline. And Derek is coming, you said?
Yes.
Okay, we'll mark that too off. Alrighty. Okay. With that being said, we do want to, we're going to review the registration submission form. I'm not sure if anybody has had issues with that or found that easy to use. I'll blame it all on RJ because he designed it. We're going to go through that. We're going to spend a little more time on that. Before we do that, I do want to run through the important dates, key dates coming up. So of course, today is our 3rd public meeting. Thank you all for taking the time out at the end of your day and coming out. Next big meeting is, or deadline I should say, is Tuesday, November 1st. It's Tuesday, November 1st at 5 p.m. You have to have your online project proposal submission. So please, if you have any questions about that or you need help developing that, don't hesitate to contact us, reach out to us, stay after this meeting. We're going to be, largely today's meeting is breakout session, so we'll be hearing from you all your concerns, but please do not hesitate to contact us because that is critical to your successful project submission. Moving on, Saturday, November 12th is our next key important date. The location is the same place, right here in the Covelli Community Room. The time is tentatively 10 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. Those will be the public project presentations. Obviously, not all of you are going to have to stay from 10 to 6 p.m. You will get a slot based upon in our guidelines how long you have to make your presentation and any Q&A with the project support group.
Does anyone need a guidebook? Okay.
Yeah, we do have extra guidebooks if anybody needs a copy.
Team no name will take your
Yes, please. You could take my copy too if anybody needs them. And again, they are available online. We'll pull the website up here in a moment. Anybody have questions about that date?
We'd like any of the extra time between 10 and 6. We'll take it all.
Okay, okay. Ralph, we will keep that in mind, and I'm sure there will be some leftover time, so we will offer that to anybody if there's a equal opportunity for leftover time.
Do you have a ballpark of how long you'd like each presentation to be?
20 minutes. It's 10 minutes presentation and 10 minutes question and answer.
Thank you.
And that's in the guidebook.
That's in the guidebook.
Yeah, please share that with your team members that aren't here or don't have a copy. It's all downloadable online and viewable online, so you can print it yourself or send a link and share accordingly. Any other questions about November 12th? Our second key upcoming date? Okay. All right, next date. Friday, December 2nd, 2016, right before our new year. Final 5 projects. Those teams, or the final 5 projects that are selected, will be contacted by the INPLACE project support group. Hey, what's going on, TV buddy? This person showed me how to work around the newsroom. You got to introduce yourself. Stand up. Come on, lay people up to stand up.
I'm Gabrielle Johnson. I'm in 7th grade.
And whose team you on? Whose team you on?
Oh, 7th grade with the Lewis Center.
Perfect. Thank you, Gabby. Derek, we got to have you introduce yourself real quick.
I'm Derek.
Hi. And you're on Madeline's team then?
Yes.
Okay, she mentioned that. Thank you. All right, so real quick, we're going to go back to the third important key date, Friday, December 2nd. That's when we will contact the 5 winners. So you will be contacted then. Any questions about that? Okay, moving on. Friday, January 6th. Now we're into 2017. The location, again, will be at the Cavelli Center here in the YSU Community Room. Time will be a traditional time for all of our public meetings. We're going to keep it 5 to 7 p.m. So obviously we will be flexible as we can. We do have people come in from out of town, so we ask you that if somebody from your team does get here promptly at 5 o'clock or soon thereafter. And we will begin the INPLACE support group meetings, which each team will start talking about permit reviews and any project refinement. So we will have people like Bob and his colleagues over at City Hall in the zoning and planning department, and the city events coordinator will be here. He's actually one of our maybe outer ring project support group team members.
Peripheral.
Very busy with summer events, but that's Mike McGibbon. He will be here starting in January. Any questions about that date?
Will those just be for the 5 teams that have been awarded the grant, correct?
Yes, yes. And I think we've been fielding interest from folks that are interested in being a part of this INPLACE project. And we're going to talk about that as a project support group team. But there has been, at the last meeting, we did get some high school students that they're applying to college or just too busy to form a team or be on a team, or maybe they're just not interested, but they want to help with social media and marketing and community awareness with all the projects that do get selected and all the projects that are submitted. Because please remember, this is all in your guidebook, but anybody who does have the courage to submit a project, you will be featured in the McDonough Museum in a show next year that will run about 2 months long, I think, and Leslie she'll be here soon, the director of the McDonough Museum, to clarify that, but that's in your guidebook too. So you'll be a part of this NEA case study in the future. So you will be recognized if you do put a project proposal together and submit. Any other questions?
Will those who don't make on a team be encouraged to join other teams formally or that kind of informal?
It's a really good question. I don't know that we've thought through that. I think that's something we're going to take back and talk about on Tuesday though.
I think it'll largely respond to the need. So if there's some gaps to fill on the teams that are selected, then we'll discuss accordingly. But I don't see why you wouldn't be able to after the fact.
Yeah, and we're going to record that, Derek, because it's something that other people have asked. And we'll talk about it as a group and get back to you. Okay, any other questions about that 4th key date? Okay. And then next date is Friday, March 3rd. And again, we're in 2017 here. Location, same place, same time, Cavelli Convention Center, 5 to 7. Final projects will have their formal presentation, and the public is invited, and there will be a small reception. And then you're off. It's time to begin implementing. So we do have a timeline to this project. National Endowment of the Arts is requesting significant reporting, which our project support group is responsible for. So we're going to be here helping you along the way, but time to get busy after that nice reception we're going to put on for you. And then projects need to be completed as of today. They need to be completed July 31st of 2017. So that's a quick run through. We do want to reiterate the key dates. Again, they are available on the website and the guidelines, and as the project support group team, we'll be reiterating those and reminding you those throughout the process.
Which of those dates was the date you give us checks?
The date we give you your checks. So that's a very good question, Ralph. We have to work through not only National Endowment for the Arts financial requirements. We also have to work through the bureaucracy of the university, which is excellent. I love it, and I'm sure all my colleagues here love it. But we have an extraordinary controller's office, and they're working very closely with us throughout this process. So we will not receive the NEA funds around the time we make the announcement, which is November, December. So when we get those funds, they will be put into account at YSU, and we will allocate based upon the winners, and you're going to be reporting basically directly to me and the project support group team of when you need to draw funds. So $20,000 to each of the 5 awardees will be allocated as you need those funds.
I also come from an organization that's just extremely well run, and the Youngstown City School District, you may have heard of it.
Yes.
And so I asked the question because you also gave a date when you have to have the deliverables done. Will you move that date if the excellent organization happens to misstep and delivers the money in May?
That's a very good question. These things happen, right? I mean,
Right.
Anybody
All
that's
the
worked with
time.
any number of excellent organizations has gone through that or has some experience in that. So yeah, we will work diligently to be flexible with you.
It's not some sort of a use it or lose it date that you have to.
I don't want to say that because I'm not going to speak for National Endowment for the Arts. I'm not going to speak for YSU as a university. But I know how the system works. I work with it every day. So I'm confident that as long as you're communicating with us, we will make it work.
So let's see, we're saying March, April, May, June, July. The maximum amount of time we will have to deliver then would be 5 months.
Approximately 5 months, yep.
And that's a maximum. It could be less, but okay.
And then
Just sort of trying to
photograph
get that clear.
If it's shorter, it might be better because then we can actually give NEA photographs of the thing being used, whatever
Yes.
it is.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
you get the money quicker to the people who are getting it, they'll get the project done faster.
Right.
Question over here?
Good question.
So will we receive, if we get it, will team unnamed get the 20,000 in a lump sum, or will we submit POs to you as we move through the project? How will that work?
I'm anticipating that you will submit POs to me. I don't know your project, so that you might need all $20,000 up front. I don't know that, but again, how we've arranged the budget form should give us an idea of how we need to communicate with NEA and our controller's office so that they're prepared to run things through the system per their protocol and also getting you what you need in a timely manner. I'm sorry if these aren't clear. They're going to be a little gray answers, but we're going to have to communicate with the 5 teams in our support group and the financial departments that are releasing funds to us. But we'll make sure it happens. Courtney.
On that, if we are asking for funds from donors, is there a nonprofit associated with INPLACE that the money could be routed through?
There is not. And we did not include that nor intend that to be the case when we wrote this grant. So it would be very surprising to me if we were able to put that mechanism in place in the timeline that we have allotted. It's a very good question though. And
Donald Trump though has this organization.
I'll be sure to dump my money there.
good question though.
Is that prohibited?
Is using a nonprofit as a mechanism to
No, soliciting funds to incorporate into your project, or are you restricted to that allotment? Everybody's got to play on that level.
Your budget should reflect $20,000 awards coming from the NEA through this project. If you are able to, say, fundraise or get in-kind support in the form of cash or services, you need to be communicating with that to us now. Yeah, we need to know that as a project support group as soon as possible.
Can we present those as secondary and tertiary components to the initial project? So we could let you know that we're seeking those out. They may not have been ascertained at this point, but it's something that we're working on.
Yeah, I think, again, if that's the case with your specific project, please communicate what you're thinking now, because in the guidebook, we do allude that some of the criteria is based on, as we evaluate these projects, is obviously artistic merit and the other things we set forth in the guidebook, but we do want to have a level of scalability and duplicability in your projects, because we do realize that $20,000 is significant in terms of public art projects, especially what we're used to around here. But we do know there's limitations to what that can create. So we do want you to think, I mean, whatever you create, we want to be able to create more of it. Maybe not in the exact form that you propose or you ultimately hopefully implement, but we do want these things to kind of spread around the city and hopefully, you know, beyond that one day.
Are you, you know, if you have a limit to the number of entities you're going to give money out, you have, and you're saying the maximum is 20,000, the answer is it's 20,000 everybody.
Correct.
And, because you got 100 grand. So, you must have in mind allowing additional resources to be used if you put it in there at all. And now would be a nice time for you guys to communicate that to us, because I mean, I don't know exactly what to tell you. I'm inclined to hide them until you tell me how much of the 20 grand I'm gonna lose if I tell you.
You're not going to lose anything yet because you haven't got anything, but...
Well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's asking the question, can you put them in
No,
a
I think it's a good
sub-project?
question, but I think
No
it's
one wants to
foolish at
lose
this point to
resources.
think that we're going to let you use other money. So if you're developing you're developing not a $20,000 project that's been set forth from the guidelines back since, when was our first public meeting? June?
Yeah.
Then that's not a good approach, I would suggest. And I do turn it over to my other support group team members, but I wouldn't be planning for a 100,000 project, because if your company for some reason goes out of business tomorrow, you're null and void. We can't select you. If you develop a scope of work that needs that 100,000 versus 20,000, you're not competitive, not eligible. So if I would suggest, and again, please jump in.
Instead of having to pay for it.
If you have labor resources that people want to be on your team and do in kind, if the budget form is built so that you can include that. But in terms of fundraising, I don't suggest you fundraise for cash as part of your initial plan. I mean,
You were envisioning in kind.
Yeah.
we definitely have, from the onset, have expected teams to be formed based on who you could bring to your team that can provide in-kind resources. I mean, I'm not an artist, so I would certainly need an artist and probably an architect and someone that could is handy to be on my team. I mean, I could come up with a great idea, but I'm not going to get another person like me if I was forming a team. Yeah, good, very good question. I hope I answered it.
Back here.
Was there any tax exemption status for any materials purchased?
YSU has tax exempt status. So, yes, there is. Yeah, so we haven't thought through that. I don't think, actually we have, because it's set up. When we submit an order, so if the order comes through YSU or as part of this project, so say you're buying stuff from Lowe's, if you go to Lowe's and tell them you're with YSU or you're doing this through YSU, they would award you that. But again, you're going to want to communicate with us before, which you will be on any purchase orders or invoicing.
So does the university line that we would be using run through the foundation?
No.
No.
It will not be run through the university foundation. Very good question, though. A lot of people assume that, especially if you have any experience working with donations or fundraising at the university. The foundation is the biggest mechanism to get funds in and out of the university. So, good question, but no, this is a grant awarded to YSU, the institution, so it has to be run through YSU.
In the back?
Just one question to kind of solidify a little bit of this. Materials donated, where does that fall? Because if that company went out of business and it was materials, would you consider that?
Yeah.
Is that a gray area?
In kind, in terms of skills or time or resources beyond cash, are cool with the support group.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing is that, for example, in that example, just make sure that if a company goes out of business, your project it will be completely gone. That might not. But. And quite honestly, some of these questions around in-kind, and I think some of scalability, because some of these projects might have a life above and beyond the project, and also it might scale up. So maybe some of the in-kind, some other things that the people are thinking about. I think our suggestion is the 20,000 is thought of for a pilot, almost something that gets realized. But if there's more ambition, you can keep growing it. There's nothing that's going to stop it from that. But we're asking for the purposes of this for we have to put some limits on it also so that people can play in equal footing and etc.
That's a really good way to put it. That when we talk about scalability, it's not just what you're creating and you create another one. It's hopefully you could build upon your project. Because again, we do realize what 20,000 may or may not get you. And we'll answer some more of these questions in more detail as we come around to your no-name teams or whatnot. But I do want to give RJ some time to go through the registration form.
Yeah.
And that'll be dictated upon whether you had success using that or have any questions with that. So